I feel like nothing's been canceled for a while. Has somebody been canceled or anything you got there? We're good, right? Everybody's just keeping their mouths shut, afraid to talk, or not getting canceled. Do you remember who the queen of canceled was? Oh, come on, you can't remember? Seriously. Who I consider the queen of the first person to ever get canceled, who was that? Name that person. Paula Deen. Paula Deen, the first to get canceled. I mean, can you name anybody before her? I think the stream's up and running. We're good to go. Let's do this thing. Welcome to the Closing Beat. How you doing, everybody? Happy Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. Paula Deen, right? You guys tell me. Is it Paula Deen, in terms of getting canceled? Maybe rightfully so, but I can't think of anybody before her that society canceled than Paula Deen. Just saying. Haven't seen her, right? Hey, welcome to our show. We're financial advisors that happen to talk about other things every now and then. This is our stock market update show. And tonight, if you are one of our clients, man, I'm looking forward to this one. We have Wine and Wealth, right? It's a class that we do. And why am I saying everything here? Let's let Buckley? Well, I need a new name. Simon. I think it should be Simon. Simon, man. You don't like Simon? Well, maybe they could name him. Who do you think this guy sounds like?
Wine and Wealth, a show produced exclusively for our clients here at Jazz.
Right? I mean, that's like, hello and welcome. That's not me, by the way. That's a guy. Who do you think he sounds like? Anyways, tonight, return on capital. We're going to be talking about that here tonight in different forms from, any form of your dollars. I'm going to go through everything, real estate, stocks, options, you name it. So we're going to do that tonight. Hope you'll join us for that. Also, the research site, if you feel like joining, research site is $13 a month. It's free for clients, yada, yada, yada. We've got a lot of great posts on there. Gold, actually, one of our recent posts there is something we're focused on. And we've got some cool studies and things that we like to share so that it gives you ideas of what you can do, where you may want to look, some stock ideas and things without telling you, go buy that stock and then going through that whole thing. So hopefully you'll check that out. As far as the stock markets go today, we got a green day. Do you like green days? But I made the title as, look, it looks like a little bit of Christmas tree trading. And I say that because this is where we stand. Green, red, 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 green, green, red, red, right? We got this back and forth like the old-fashioned Christmas tree lights, and it doesn't really tell you anything. We're still in an uptrend. Everything's still very much strong. There's no question of the uptrend ending at the moment. But in the ultra short term, you're kind of in a holding pattern, which is fine because tomorrow's Friday and maybe nothing happens. So it's okay that we end the week this way. You expect next week to be a little bit of exciting sort of news. Now, as far as the news that came out today, initial jobless claims. That was the focus. I've got a lot to share with you here. Initial claims for unemployment insurance, blah, blah, blah. They ticked lower. Well, that's a good thing, right? So this is the pandemic spike, obviously, and we've kind of recovered from that. We're going lower and lower and lower, 444,000. That's cool. The funny part, and maybe this is not so funny, but I find this sort of, generally funny. Let's look at continuing claims for unemployment insurance. I'm going to go into 1 year here just so we can see coming off of the virus, issue we had there. All of a sudden, continuing claims. People aren't leaving unemployment. They're saying, I just keep paying me the money, man. I got used to staying at home. There you go. When you look around town and it says now hiring or restaurants have to be closed for a while, that's it. People staying on unemployment insurance. So that, to me, was negative. It's funny to look at, but it was kind of a negative there. Nonetheless, the initial jobless claims, very positive. So less people going on unemployment insurance. So that was good for the markets today, and that got things really started on the day. The Nasdaq. There you go. The Nasdaq back above the 50-day here led the way today. It's up about 5% year to date. You're happy to see that. Big tech and the semiconductors are going to be what moved the needle here today. You also had some of your COVID stocks. Zoom got a positive mention there in the media, so that's coming up off of lows there. Semiconductors like AMAT, Maxim, big movers today. So you've had your patience through the pullback on semiconductors, big movers today. Maxim, another one that just broke to new highs. I think I've got it on my list for later. Lam Research, these are big semiconductor movers here and big recoveries as well. So that stands out there. Downside today, I believe Ross was the only real loser, down about 2%. There's a little bit of option positioning ahead of their earnings. or following their earnings, I should say. So Ross Stores, pretty much the only one there that was weak for the Nasdaq. Going on over to the S&P 500, that came in second place today. Steady gain all day long. Look at the 5-minute chart. You got there you go. You got a nice start to the day, very few pullbacks, and they were all almost, except for the last one of the day, bought up for the day. So that's a good sign there. Still the Christmas tree sort of thing that I've been talking about, and the concept is going to be the same there. It's big tech and semis aside from Hormel. So we'll cover Hormel in just a little bit. But you got your Maxim, your AMAP, a little bit of retailers in there. Of course, you got Tesla, Microsoft, all the big guys really leading the way in this S&P here today. I'll also point out real quick, clean energy. Just because we talked about this yesterday, Enphase. Big move for that one here today, and I thought, well, that's interesting. We were just talking about it. Look at the rest of them. Go into solar. First Solar with a 3% gain. Go into the clean energy ETF, ICLN, up 2.5% today. So the very thing that we reviewed yesterday happened to be the very thing that was actually strong today, and we know that that's one of the worst performers out there. So very, very cool to see that. And a lot of those sort of clean energy names just had a great day. Going back over to the Dow here real quick. Yeah, I mean, there's, you get the idea of what happened today. I don't have to go through everything. Apple was your big gainer, big contributor on the day. You had Boeing up 1.4% as well. Could that be? Could that be the next little rally there? Microsoft and the like, very, very good today. Across the board, it was pretty good for the Dow. Anything that was down small. Caterpillar was your big loser on the day, and it lost about 0.8%. Still very much in an uptrend, so nothing to talk about there. Now, here's one for you. Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, former Fed president, the whole thing. She says that if you're going to transfer more than $10,000 of crypto, you got to report that. Yeah, we want to hear about that. It's kind of like if you take 10 grand in cash out of the bank, they want you to report it. And the Fed came out and said they're going to post a study of their own potential coin by the summertime. So a little bit of you would think, a little bit of a drag on Bitcoin there. However, Bitcoin did well. Why? Because it's super extended. So Bitcoin obviously had a big decline yesterday. It is significantly down over the past couple of days, so a little dead cat bounces there. I want to show you something here real quick in terms of Bitcoin pullbacks off of its highs. Where did I go here? Hold on, come with me here. You got Bitcoin off of highs. Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. So I've just got to change my chart back because I got a little bit creative there. Look at this. We've got Bitcoin. I'm going to zoom out here. I'll just go 10 years so that makes it easier. What you're seeing is from Bitcoin's price hitting a high to the pullback, how far did it fall? So a 30% decline is actually average. A 30% decline off of highs is average. Well, what we just had here off of highs, 41%, not including today, 41% off of highs is just a little bit above average. It's not actually that bad, right? Considering how volatile this coin can be. Now, if you compare it to others, big cap names, you think like, well, let's compare it to Tesla. Well, Tesla would be the most closest competitor in terms of volatility. In orange, you've got Tesla in the background there, off of its highs. The average pullback off of high is just less than 30%. But if we were to then take that away and say, let's look at something like Amazon, you go, wow, Amazon pulled back 8% off of highs. It could fall 30% during the virus. No, that was after the virus, or before the virus there. It can have these 30% declines, but all in all, Bitcoin obviously much more volatile. But here's the interesting thing. If you're really into the geeky stuff like I am, it's not fair to say Bitcoin now versus Amazon now. Bitcoin is newer, Amazon is older. So you would have to take Amazon's volatility back in the day compared to the same time frame as Bitcoin here. If you do that, Amazon was actually more volatile than Bitcoin. So I will take a little bit of, what do you call it, swallow your tongue soup there, because I would have said Bitcoin was more volatile than Amazon. But nope, Amazon still takes top place. Out of Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, Amazon would be the most volatile if you include Bitcoin in there as well. So I just thought that was interesting. Thought I would share it with you for the day and talk about Bitcoin for a change, because normally we don't do that. Looking over at the individual sectors here today, there's not a whole lot here. Everything was basically positive. Let me start with the negative first, because that's going to be your energy. That's going to be your XLE, which X type, brother. XLE. There we go. So energy, the only negative sector, really down on the day. Transports are not a sector. We just include them there to make our graph look nice, because it's a little bit weird. So Actually, let's go like this. This thing kind of changed as well. There you go. All right, so energy down on the day. Weakest really because of oil. Oil reverse course, giving you that pullback. Remember, energy, XLE is up over 40%, now about 40% year to date. So a pullback is very, very welcome here. It's also the best performing sector for the year. Today, responding to the price of oil breaking back below the 50-day moving average, so not too big of a deal there. Best performers, you got tech, right? You're going to notice tech at the top of the list, and if you break it down a little bit further, you're going to notice semiconductors. So tech up about 2% on the day. That's all your big tech names. Really, actually, it was all of them there. Semiconductors, we've already covered that. Communication services comes in second place in terms of sectors for the day. Take a look at the obvious ones. Facebook up 1.6% on the day. Twitter having a good day as well. And all of those in the communication services space. I think Disney was a good day as well. It was a broad rally across communication services there. Just one other thing, I'll point out real estate. We've been talking about real estate here a little bit, giving you some research posts, giving you some sort of classes here. Just something that maybe to take a look at, that real estate's actually performed quite well and continues to be very close to hitting new highs there. So I wanted to point that one out. One quick thing I will share with you if you've got a second. The dollar. Has anybody looked at the dollar? Do you guys look at the dollar? I'll take a look at your questions here in a minute, but this is the dollar. So one way to look at it is the UUP. The dollar is basically hovering at its lows for the year. And if we zoom out just a little bit further, if it breaks these lows, it's headed back to 2018 lows. Or at least we would say it hasn't been this low since about 2018. Now, the lesson here in terms of how do I find a stock? What does that matter to me if the dollar's weak, dollar's strong? You may have a political view, but how do we make money off of that, right? So the lesson here is that the dollar being weak is actually good for companies that make a lot of their revenues outside the U.S. Weak dollar, we can make money outside the U.S. at a higher rate in a different currency. Stronger dollar, the small cap stocks, companies that make more here in the States, they do better versus companies that make a lot of revenue overseas. So that's the lesson there. The breakdown here is something I don't think anybody has actually ever offered to share this here. So let's do it. Here is... And then I got to go back a step, man. I forgot a slide, man. I forgot a slide. I'm laughing right now because I looked over at Cody to say, hey, man, I got to go back a slide. And he has a fly swatter in his hand, and he was chasing down a fly. It's behind the scenes right there, huh? A little bit different. I wish we could have got that. Anyways. So let's take a look, right? So sector-wise, which sectors have the most revenue overseas? This is something that people just don't take the time to share. Take a look. So tech is the behemoth here. 53, let's call it 54% of their, I'm going to make this bigger too so you can see. 54% of their revenues come from overseas, right? So they're going to be the ones that a weakening dollar hurts the most. Utilities, you can kind of understand that, right? So utilities and real estate, we're doing business here in the state for the most part with utilities, but they're also the most sensitive to interest rates. So that's not the easiest area to say, well, hey, I'll go buy some utilities there. Anyways, financials as a whole are at 23%, but remember the lesson from yesterday. You remember what we talked about yesterday? The KBE, the KRE, and the XLF. So how you could get rid of those large money center banks and actually just sort of focus your portfolio back into the regionals there. Is this too much? Is this a little much? Anyways, you can see the rest of the sector breakdowns as far as how much revenue they get overseas. So if you believe that the dollar is going to continue to get weak, you would want to avoid tech, materials, energy if possible. You could break that down as well. And so that's one way to kind of do it. Now, to go back a step, because we were just talking about Bitcoin, and I know if I say Bitcoin, Bitcoin enough on the show here, the algorithms will pick it up and maybe more people will watch, but I want to give you guys something as well. Take a look at this. The current drawdown, 36.6% for Bitcoin, which this is the one right here. Max drawdowns for Bitcoin, take a look. 83%, 36, 37. So you can get an idea why that average was where it was on the previous chart there. And so one thing that sticks out here to me, if you measure the length of these drawdowns, meaning the time that it took to fall, 93% back in 2011. Remember, it was wild back then. It's gotten better over time. But this would rank as the shortest, 43 days, I believe, 43 days as the shortest 36% pullback in history. These all took much, much longer. So Bitcoin, although is becoming less volatile, is becoming quicker on its volatility, if I could highlight that for just a second. Anyways, I jumped around a little bit there. Let's go to new highs and lows for the day. All right, so new highs, you got 14 of them. They were all positive on the day. IQV is the first one. Hey, does that look like a breakout? I don't know. Maybe a little breakout. I try to point those things out. Why? Because Intuit, we talked about that. That one broke out today. So I tried to give you an idea of stocks that were about to break out. Well, today, Intuit makes the new high list there. If we look at Arista Networks, that's also a breakout. I did not see this one the other day, but starting to break out there. Very tight consolidation pattern up at the highs, and it's up about 4% today. So it didn't just run away without you. You don't have to feel like you missed it there. Maxim, the one we talked about earlier. There you go. A little bit of a breakout and a great reversal over the last 2 days. Volume strong, people chasing this one as people come back into semiconductors. Why is this one standing out? It's usually because when a industry it gets to a point where people say, okay, I would like to buy it. I see the dip, I would like to buy it. The first question is, what's the strongest stock in that industry that I can buy? Not the weakest. We want the strongest already. And that tends to be those that have weathered the pullback and stayed basically strong. So with Maxim, that's basically what you have there, people chasing the strongest stock overall. And then lastly, I had to go, I had to look at this one. I keep typing the wrong symbol. There you go. Yeah, I can't type. Norton, LifeLock, hits new 52-week highs again. I mean, that's impressive. If you own that, that's impressive for you to own that. But man, that is super extended there. Anyways, that's the new highs for the day. There's not too much else to look at in terms of new highs. The list was rather small, and there were no new 52-week lows. We go over to stocks in the news, then I'll take your questions. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I'm happy to help for a little bit. And then we've got the wine and wealth tonight, so we got to do that. Hey, Cisco comes up, a slight beat on revenue thanks to their order growth subscription changes. Remember, they're going on that subscription model there. 81% of their software revenue came from subscriptions. Doesn't mean much to you. If we compare it to last quarter, you see 76%. 76, 81, more revenue coming from their software subscriptions, which is what they want. So you would say that's going well there. Earnings did miss by a little bit there, and they did guide lower going forward, but everybody chose to focus on the software subscriptions like Netflix and stuff does. All right, American Financial, just want to point this out because if you own it, you're getting a one-time dividend between $12 and $14 per share. It's over a 10% dividend yield just one time. They're just going to pay you and move on. Costco did that recently. Virgin Galactic, SPCE is the ticker symbol. Hey, they announced their next flight. Remember just the other day they were like, oh, earnings were horrible, we made nothing, and we don't know when our next flight's going to be. Stock gets hit a little bit. They come out and they go, May 22nd, which is just like 2 days from now. We're going to fly our plane again. So obviously the stock responds to that. Is there a little something going on there? Come on. 15% gains on the day as far as Virgin Galactic, so for all of you that gave up. Hormel, these are the guys that do, I never liked it, but Skippy peanut butter. They do Holy Guacamole. It's a food company. They do the Hormel pepperoni, which apparently is selling like hotcakes. And they do Spam, probably most famous known for Spam. And others as well, but that's just what comes to mind. Hormel Foods, big day for this one. 7.3% gain on the day. If you look at their earnings, they beat just by a penny, which is typically, that's normal, right? To see a beat by a penny or two, not by like 50 cents like we've been seeing lately. They also raised guidance going forward, and they said the pepperoni, that's flying off the shelves. That was one of their saving graces over the last quarter is pepperoni. What are you doing with the pepperoni? In the package? You wrapping it up in your cheese? That ain't bad. That's pretty good. Limited Brands, down about 4% on the day. They beat on earnings by 27 cents, raised guidance going forward. Everybody said, yeah, but what about the spinoff? We're not interested in the brand as a whole. We want Bath & Body Works, and that continues to be the focus there. If you want to look at BJ's, they were down 5% on the day. I believe that was earnings. I didn't catch what the problem was there. They're opening 6 new stores this year. They beat on earnings. I didn't catch the negative news there. It looks like it was just a little bit down on otherwise positive earnings. Kohl's. So Kohl's comes out, beats by $1.17, which is actually quite impressive. It's overbought, man. This stock is way, way overpriced if you're taking a look at, in particular, retailers that you could participate in. So just putting that one there. And Sun Country, I don't talk IPOs, but I'm going to talk IPOs today. Stock's down 3%. They just went public, and now they're coming back to the market with a secondary offering to raise $250 million. Why? Because they can. That's it. That's the only reason, right? That's crazy. That is crazy. Okay, so let's take a look at your questions, see what we got. If I can answer a few questions, great. If not, I will get out of the way and get ready for our class here tonight. So let's see what we got. Yeah, you had a little bit of the government coming after the crypto today, wanting to get a little bit tighter on that. And that's, you know, just a matter of time, really. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. Trying to hire highly skilled workers. I am trying to do the same, and it's just not out there. I cannot tell you, just between remodeling the house, things that we're working on, there's nobody. I get no calls back from anybody. I don't even get a call back. I literally called, who was it that I called? Like a screen cage somebody or other. I think it was the screen cage. Anyways, no, it was a landscaper. And I called, and I'm like, hey, I need the whole thing done. You know, make me a design, make the whole thing. And their voicemail said, sorry for not answering the call. We don't mean to make this rude, but we're just not taking new business right now. We can't find the help that we need and everything, so sorry about that. Please don't take this as any disrespect. He just stopped answering the phone. That's how it's going on down here. Yep. Oh, you got it. Yep. Any idea when we're going back, when we are going to get our market research back? Oh, in the portal there. Hopefully soon. We're switching the data provider because they wanted to jack up the price. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. Have I ever thought about a crypto portfolio? No. I've never thought about it. I've been asked to think about it, but no, I've never done it. What's a good international ETF? Well, that's a broad question, right? Because what are we talking? Broad international, we talking about focusing on China. I just covered Asher yesterday, which is exactly how it sounds. China A shares there. That continues to a little bit of a rally here today. That's just focused on the China 30, or what I say is the China 30. But don't just like take my word for that. Look around a little bit on that. There you go. But need more detail to give you something more specific there. Lumber and commodity prices, yeah, coming back off of their overbought mess, right? When you look at things like that, it's normal, right? That's a great example of too far, too fast. Lumber in particular. And notice how when it sold off, nobody was really saying anything online. It was like lumber prices skyrocketing. Well, they basically retreated, and now we're not back to that. So it's too far, too fast, you get your pullback. That's how it works. Yep. Any opinion? I don't follow biotech stocks all that much. In particular, the day-to-day kind of news. I just don't pay attention to that stuff. I'm not a biotech fan. Medical devices, things like that. Honestly, I know we have to include some of those, but it sort of bores me, and I don't like looking at that. Yeah, I love it. There you go. Darren, Foot Locker, you get a big green earnings candle tomorrow. Would you call it extended? You like your Foot Locker, huh? That's interesting. You know, that's not one that usually gets attention. You want to sell calls. So if you get a big move tomorrow, the problem is if you're going to sell calls, or if this is like an earnings thing, you got to do it like 9:31, 9:32. So you got to make a decision pretty quick. Otherwise, what volatility there is just starts to fall. But anyways, if you got like a big move, let's say you got something big towards 62, if that happened to be the case, 62, 63, I think you still bet on this being a lower high, right? So selling calls, if I'm assuming you're saying sell them naked, I wouldn't disagree with that. Can't tell you to do that. You know the drill. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope you have a great rest of your day, evening actually. Going to flip this around, do some class tonight here, Wine and Wealth. So if you're one of our clients, you want to come join us for that, learn about return on capital. Happy to talk about that later today. Otherwise, enjoy. Thanks for coming by, and we'll see you.